Shohei Ohtani's 2023 season is not ending the way we all hoped it would. The Angels suck, so we won't see Ohtani in the playoffs. He recently just had to shut down any pitching because of a torn UCL, which could very well lead to another Tommy John surgery. And as of just yesterday, it was reported that Ohtani had cleared out his locker in the Angels clubhouse, with the team revealing that Ohtani's oblique injury, which is something he also is dealing with along with the torn UCL, will knock him out for the rest of the season, hitting and pitching. And with that, the obvious thought creeps into all of our heads. We very well likely have seen the last pitch Shohei Ohtani has ever thrown for the Angels, and the last home run Shohei Ohtani has ever hit for the Angels. He's done for 2023, practically a free agent now, so what's next? There really are only a handful of teams that actually have a legit shot at Ohtani and who also realistically can get him. And from what I've seen through most of these Ohtani free agency talks, like what I've gathered is that the Dodgers seem like the most likely team to win the Ohtani sweepstakes. A lot of people think that's going to happen. For a while, I kind of thought the same thing, and still do, but to kind of a lesser extent than I did before. I remembered a pretty significant thing that happened between Ohtani and the Dodgers. Many have forgotten about it, even I totally forgot about it before recently being reminded about the incident. So what happened? Let's go back to the beginning. But before we do that, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content and haven't yet. Thank you. By the beginning, I mean when the baseball world in the United States started to slowly find out who Shohei Ohtani was. He was of course popular in Japan, but now he was someone who had some expectations of being a two-way superstar in the major leagues, and it was going to be pretty exciting for whoever signed him. Ohtani of course ended up with the Angels, but not before speaking to some teams, having meetings with other teams, and burning some bridges in the process. Back before the 2018 season, when Ohtani was negotiating with different teams, deciding who he wanted to play for, his agent set up a meeting with the Dodgers. And this meeting would lead to Ohtani gaining a couple of haters. So the Dodgers had this meeting with Ohtani and his agent, and to make things not just about the money and business, to make Ohtani feel like a human being, a player, someone who'd enjoy being a Dodger, the team brought in a couple of players to be a part of the meeting, a couple of guys Ohtani can relate to and get a first-hand experience of what it's like to be a Dodger. Those two players were Clayton Kershaw and Justin Turner. And this meeting with Ohtani ended up going just about as badly as it could get. Ohtani couldn't have seemed any less interested, seeming like he was almost just forced to be there by his agent, and this really pissed off Turner and Kershaw. Turner called the meeting a waste of time, saying that Ohtani might as well have not even been sitting there, and him and Kershaw might as well have been speaking to a window. Kershaw called it a gigantic waste of time, adding on, quote, "It really just seemed like it was predetermined that he wanted to DH. I'm kind of mad at his agent for making us waste all that time and effort. 15 teams should have been out of it from the beginning. I know it's probably frustrating for everybody in the National League. A lot of guys spend a lot of time trying to figure out what makes him tick and to try to get him over here." End quote. Now, Kershaw's overall frustration really wasn't even fully at Ohtani, if at all, but more so Ohtani's agent who set up the whole thing, with Kershaw and Turner accusing him of setting up the meeting knowing Ohtani wasn't interested, thinking he wasted their time, to which the agent of course denied. Now, this may have been more about the agent, but it's obvious both Kershaw and Turner didn't appreciate Ohtani's disinterest for this meeting and the feeling that it felt like talking to a wall. Almost like Ohtani wasn't even there, he just didn't seem to have any care in the world. So skip ahead more than 5 years into the future, the 2023 offseason. Does this really affect Ohtani potentially signing with the Dodgers? No, not really. I mean, I don't know. To start, he's Shohei freaking Ohtani, and I don't think the Dodgers are going to sweat about some bad blood between him and a couple of their players from 5 years ago. There's a universal DH now, so Ohtani would be able to DH even on the National League Dodgers. The Dodgers are a winning organization, unlike the Angels, and money also talks. It would be hard for Ohtani to turn down $500+ million. Things are very different than they were when Ohtani had that meeting with the Dodgers. To add on to that, Justin Turner isn't even a Dodger anymore. He's signed with and has been with the Red Sox for 2023, and could a return happen for 2024? Maybe, but I doubt it. Clayton Kershaw, who was also outspoken on his frustration with that Ohtani meeting, is still on the Dodgers though. And he also happens to be one of the faces of the entire franchise's history. A future Hall of Famer and someone who is of course largely respected in LA. He's not just some random schmuck. I mean, why else would he have been picked to be a part of that meeting? So that could be weird if he and Ohtani had to share the same clubhouse, but honestly, again, all this happened 5 years ago, so it's hard to see Kershaw to this day really being mad over it. I'm sure he'd at the very least be okay with Shohei Ohtani, the most talented baseball player of all time, joining his team, and I would expect them to be good with one another. And even if they somehow weren't and the bad blood continued, Kershaw may not even be playing baseball next year. He's still a great pitcher, obviously, but he's also seemingly become made of glass. The velocity has really gone down at times, so have the innings, with Kershaw dealing with injury issues over the last several years, and 2023 hasn't stopped that trend, so the topic of retirement has come up. I hope he doesn't retire, but if he decides to officially hang him up for his career, if he still had any serious issue with Ohtani, that wouldn't matter now with him not even playing on the team anymore. But whatever the case is, it was still interesting to look back on this little incident between Ohtani and the Dodgers, if you want to call it that, and maybe that will factor a little bit into his potential decision to sign there this offseason, a place that many expect him to sign. Who knows? I don't think it really matters too much anymore, but you never know, I guess. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.